I think it actually goes beyond that, because there are many things that we take for granted today that weren't even imagined. So when I was young, I didn't really know what I was going to do when I got older. People kept asking me, but then eventually I thought that the idea of inventing things would be really cool. The reason I thought that was because I read a quote from Arthur C. Clarke, which said that a sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, and that's really true. If you go back, say, 300 years, the things that we take for granted today you'd be burned at the stake for. Being able to fly, that's crazy. Being able to see over long distances, being able to communicate, having effectively with the internet a group mind of sorts, and having access to all the world's information instantly from almost anywhere on the earth. This is stuff that really would be magic, or would be considered magic in times past. I think it actually goes beyond that, because there are many things that we take for granted today that weren't even imagined.
The best analytical framework understanding the future is physics. I'd recommend studying the thinking process around physics, like not the equations. I mean, the equations certainly they're helpful, but the way of thinking in physics is it's the best framework for understanding things that are counterintuitive. And always taking the position that you're to some degree wrong, and your goal is to be less wrong over time. I think one of the biggest mistakes people generally make, and I'm guilty of it too, is wishful thinking. Like you want something to be true even if it isn't true, and so you ignore the things that you ignore the real truth because of what you want to be true. This is a very difficult trap to avoid.
Elon Musk is a billionaire entrepreneur who co-founded various companies like Tesla, SolarCity, SpaceX, and PayPal. He also helped influence the character behind Marvel's modern take on Tony Stark, and he's been compared to other successful business visionaries like Steve Jobs and Henry Ford. Without a doubt, Elon Musk has already accomplished enough to be considered among some of the greats. If you're an entrepreneur, you should follow Elon Musk's rule of thumb. Persistence is very important. You shouldn't give up unless you're forced to give up. Failure is an option. If things aren't failing, you're not innovating enough. Failure is an inevitable part of life, yet failure has a harmfully negative connotation.
If you just take that approach of you're always to some degree wrong.
It seems as though failing at something means doing something wrong or not being good enough. While at times that may be true, failure is also a part of the journey to success. In the entrepreneurial world, many think that a failed venture means they failed as an entrepreneur, which is far from the truth. And while this fear of failure may be driving force for a lot of entrepreneurs, it can also make a lot of people freeze. If you're too scared to try something, you may never reach your potential. If you allow your failures to be lessons, you'll learn to pivot and create things you never thought you could. When you look at widely successful entrepreneurs who brought us companies like Apple, Amazon, and Tesla, it's easy to see why they disrupted the market. These infamous companies started as ideas. The first iPod, Amazon Order, and Tesla were so innovative at the time. Its creators were able to see a pain point in society and find a way to solve for it.
We might have fallen asleep, but at least he wouldn't have run over that cyclist.
That's what entrepreneurship is all about. Failure is always an option, but if you don't push the boundaries, you suffocate innovation, which can be detrimental. The startups and apps that are wildly successful are the ones that use their innovation to create solutions for their customers. Blockbuster was a great idea for its time, but Netflix and other streaming services pushed the boundaries of innovation, and now there aren't any blockbusters left. The act of not staying innovative itself can make you fail. So if failure is an option no matter what, you should be fearless in your pursuits. Go after what you want, no matter how huge or unheard of the idea is. And if that doesn't work, pivot and try again. Just don't ever quit.
Like, why do you want to live? What's the point? What inspires you? What do you love about the future?